Morning, Judge. How are you doing? I have two clients I would like to approach regarding bail.
Okay.
First one is Guerrero, Guadalupe. He has a terroristic threat. We're asking that bond be reduced. He does not have any other prior violent history.
Why is he still in? Why did he not get a PR bond?
I'm
There's gotta be a reason. Hang on, let's find out.
okay.
Let me read to you what the match should say, so we're on the same page, because I
Okay.
have no idea. It says, violent threats against his ex-wife, threatened to hit her with a walking cane. Let me bring him out. They didn't even give him a PR bond?
No.
They gave him no chance.
No, this is the only guy has pending. You go to a PR bond.
But I want to talk to him first,
Okay.
just to admonish him.
Okay.
Who's your second guy?
My second client is Ellis, last name Ellis, first name Bakori. His bond is currently set at $20,000 for this case. Last name Ellis.
Ellis.
Mhm.
I didn't understand. Let me read this to you. So what I'm reading to you is why the magistrate decided to do what they did as far as not giving a PR bond, making the bond as high as they did.
Okay.
A lot of times they will have more information that we have here
Okay.
because they'll do a group search like an NCIC or whatnot to see all criminal history. So, and this one's long. It says, defendant on a 3-year deferred for a state jail felony since 3/21/24, stole CBD disposables. This case, witness called to report a man dancing around and waving a firearm in the air at 5900 Long Drive. Law enforcement officers arrived, saw defendant matching the description sitting at a bus stop at location, saw butt-off gun sticking out of his pocket. Leo told defendant to put his hands up. Defendant instead reached for his gun. Leo struggled with the defendant as he continued to reach for his firearm. Holy moly. Finally got him cuffed an approximately 6mm, then recovered a loaded .45 pistol from his pocket. One Leo injured during the struggle, pushed against the wall of a bus stop, sustained minor abrasions. Witness identified defendant as a person she saw dancing, rapping, pulling out black pistol from his pants and waving it around multiple times. Not obeying NFC of deferred public safety concerns, indigent per AFC. That's why they did with the struggle, and it was lucky he's
There's
shot.
no body cam footage, so it's not a alleged struggle. I would like.
Let's bring him out both and we'll talk to him.
Okay.
Nice. Deputy, do you mind bringing out two people for me? I need Ellis, and then I need, it's Guerrero, right?
Guerrero.
Ellis and Guerrero, please. Interesting is to see is that, was he on something? Was he allegedly intoxicated at the time? I wonder if, I don't know. Why?
He does have mental health issues, so it may appear that the state that he was in may come off as appearing intoxicated, but he does have mental health issues too. Why his
So
behavior.
do you have the full offense report?
Yes, Judge, I'm pulling it up right
Is
now.
there any indication of intoxication at all? Is he using anything?
There's no indication.
Read it, Your Honor.
Do you have a copy of your warrant too?
Yes, I did, and I read it.
Anything?
It doesn't say anything about intoxication or abnormal behavior aside from that.
Hey, on the first case on Guerrero, do we know whether the complaining witness wants to have contact?
Your Honor, we attempted this morning, we still haven't been able to get successfully in contact with her.
I'd like to do PC with him out here.
Yes, Judge. Yes, Judge.
Hey, guys. See, I have a non-disclosure on a Vincent Rodriguez. Have you seen it? Are you opposed, unopposed? You're unopposed? Okay. Okay. You speak English, sir?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. How's jail?
I'm fine.
Good. It's not supposed to be fun.
I'm disappointed. I wasn't even supposed to be this.
Let's talk. We'll figure out why. All right. Both of you guys have picked up criminal cases. You've not made bond, and you don't have anyone that's going to make a bond for you. That's why you're in there right now. Your lawyer is asking for me to give you either a PR bond or to lower your bond. And we're going to have a discussion now as to whether that's going to happen or not. I'm a firm believer that everybody should be given at least one chance to see whether they're going to do right or not. Right? So hold on. Just don't say anything yet. You'll get your chance, I promise. Mr. Guerrero, let's start with you. So you're charged with terroristic threat. You're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you, sir.
Yes, Judge. On January 27, 2025, at 8:11 a.m., the officers arrived on the scene for a weapons disturbance at a residence in Harris County, Texas. The officers met with a complainant and a witness outside the residence and later met with the defendant inside the residence. The complainant stated the defendant, the ex-husband, lives with her at the house since last year. The complainant stated the defendant has threatened her numerous times and she was scared of what the defendant would do if she called the police. And on November 3rd, 2024, the defendant texted the complainant, I didn't put I'm fucking you up when you come back, bitch, but never assaulted the complainant. And in the middle of December 2024, the complainant was on the phone talking with a friend when the defendant approached the complainant from behind and tried to take her phone and shouted, asking who she was on the phone with. The defendant failed to get the phone away from the complainant. The complainant ran out of the residence out of fear. Around Christmas 2024 at approximately 7 to 8 p.m., the complainant and the defendant were arguing about the complainant's boyfriend having a key to her vehicle. The complainant and the defendant went to go get the keys and the defendant stated, I'm going to kill him. The complainant was in fear and the complainant's boyfriend did not want police called. On January 26, 2025, the defendant came out of his room and the complainant's jacket on the chair where the defendant's cane normally rests, and the defendant saw his cane laying on the floor, and the defendant accused the complainant of placing it there. The defendant followed the complainant into the kitchen and was close to her face. The defendant told her, you know I can hit you with this cane. I can hit you with this. Next time I will hit you. The defendant was waving the cane in her face as he said this, and the complainant was in fear of what the defendant may do to her. The defendant calmed down, so the complainant did not call the police. The complainant called the police the next morning because she wanted him out of the house. The witness, the son, corroborated the complainant's telling of events and stated the defendant said to the complainant, I could hit you if I want to, and was close to the complainant in the hallway and was waving the cane in the complainant's face.
Guerrero, I'm going to find that there's probable cause to go forward with your case. The magistrate here did not give you a PR bond. If I give you a PR bond, I want assurances that you're not going to have contact with the complaining witness in this case. You're not going to have.
Daughter, she's gonna take me somewhere else.
That's it. 95% of the people that are in jail now because they have no self-control. They get upset and they wig out and do whatever they, without thinking, if I do this, what's going to happen? If I say this, what's going to happen? Would you like me to give you a PR bond?
Yes, sir.
I don't want you to have contact with the complaining witness in
I
this
won't.
case, sir. I don't want you to have any weapons, and I want you to have self-control. I've given you a lawyer. It is your responsibility to stay in touch with her. I'm giving you a chance now.
Yes.
Don't pick up any new cases and don't disappoint us. You understand?
Yes, sir, I understand.
Um, do you mind filing those conditions that he's not to have contact with this person?
No weapons, Your Honor, as well.
No weapons, no contact. I am also entering in what's called a magistrate's order for emergency protection. This is a court order that identifies Ms. Cortez as a protected individual. You cannot commit family violence or an assault against this person. Commit an act in furtherance of an offense under section 42.072 of the Texas Penal Code, which is the stalking statute. You cannot threaten, harass, use another person to communicate a threat or harassing behavior. You cannot be in possession of a weapon or go within 200 feet of where she lives or where she works. Do you understand?
Yes, sir, I understand.
If you have kids and they live with her, then use someone else. Don't call, don't go over there, because you now know no one's going to bond you out. So if you end up going back to jail, you'll be stuck like Chuck.
Yes, sir.
You understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, man, I'm giving you a chance.
Okay.
Okay. So please, if you can still file those conditions, no contact, no weapons. Now, Mr. Ellis, your case is quite a bit more complicated. You were charged with unlawful carrying of a weapon. You were facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. We're going to do probable cause. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can or will be used against you.
Yes, Judge. On January 29, 2025, at approximately 3:29 p.m., the officer dispatched to a weapons disturbance call at 5900 Long Drive in Harris County, Texas. The officers were given a description of the defendant and that he was dancing, waving a gun. The officer arrived at the location and saw the defendant matching the description at a bus stop. The officers observed the handgun sticking out of the defendant's front right pocket, and the officers told the defendant to put his hands up, and the defendant continuously refused orders from the officers to let go of the firearm. The officers used force and pulled the defendant's arms away, and the defendant continued to grip the firearm, attempting to pull it out of his pocket. The officer was hit by the defendant while pulling away, and the officer was thrown into a metal and glass wall at a bus stop. The officer sustained minor abrasions to his right arm, and the officer struggled with the defendant for approximately 6 minutes until detaining him. The officer spoke with a witness who stated she was walking to work and heard and saw the defendant dancing and rapping while waving around a firearm multiple times.
Mr. Ellis, let me read something to you. This is why the magistrate did not give you a PR bond in this case. Defendant on a 3-year deferred for a state jail felony since 3/21/24 allegedly stole CBD disposables. In this case, the witness called to report a man dancing around and waving a firearm in the air at the 5900 Long Drive in Houston, Texas. Law enforcement officers arrived, saw defendant matching the description as sitting at a bus stop, saw butt of gun sticking out of his pocket. Law enforcement officers told defendant to put his hands up. Defendant instead reached for his gun. Do you know how many people die from that very thing right there? Watch the news every single day in America. A young person dies just because of that very thing right there. Law enforcement officers struggled with the defendant as he continued to reach for the firearm, finally got him cuffed after approximately 6 minutes, then recovered a loaded .45 pistol from his pocket. One law enforcement officer injured during the struggle, pushed against the wall of the bus stop, sustained minor abrasions. Could have been another assault of a peace officer, which is a 3rd-degree felony, 2 to 10 in the penitentiary right there. Witness identified defendant as a person she saw dancing, rapping, pulling out a black pistol from his pants and waving it around multiple times, not obeying NFC of the deferred, the conditions of the deferred. Public safety concerns, indigent, her AFC. This is the reason why you were not given a PR bond in this case. And quite frankly, Mr. Ellis, it scares me that if we let you out, what's going to happen? Sometimes we have to protect people from themselves because of their own worst enemy. Counsel, what would you like?
I would like to get his bond lowered. He is staying with his mother. His mother will be able to, keep an eye out on him and make sure that he does abide by the conditions that was previously set. I will give her a call today. He's looking for work and he has a child on the way. We're just asking for a lower bond.
What do you do with yourself these days, Mr. Ellis?
I'm just looking for a job so I could take care of my family because right now I'm with a whole 36-year-old and I'm 20 years old and I'm taking care of her kids, her and myself. And I'm staying with my mom and I'm in and out with my baby. So it's a whole lot of stuff going on. And then even dealing with that third-degree
Let's
felony
not,
charge.
I don't want to talk about the cases. My concern is that, Mr. Ellis, you're a baby yourself and now you got a kid on the way. How many kids you got?
To be my first, because I lost my first son at the age of 15, stillborn.
You were 15 when you had your first kid.
I will make contact with his mother, Your Honor, before I leave today. She will. She's present in his life. Yeah.
What's going on with the deferred upstairs? Have they done anything? Have they filed a motion to revoke?
Let me see. It does not appear that at this time they filed a motion.
What do you guys think as far as a bond reduction? State.
Your Honor, based on the fact of the nature of him being a threat to the community and to the officer themselves, which are considered under 1750, and we request 5,000 would be.
I'm requesting 2,500, Judge. He's out of work and the person that would make bond for him would be his mother. And
How long has he been on probation? He's been on probation for a year. Let me see how it goes. He's already had one BVR. You know, when you're on felony probation, you're supposed to live like you have a halo above your head because you're really looking at a lot of time in prison. And the way things are going now, this is not a good way to go. You're going to end up either dead in prison. It's hard enough in this society as a black or brown person. All you're doing is making it more difficult. The older you get, the more difficult life gets. And if you don't have a skill, a trade, knowledge, you're going to end up with a 40-year sentence or in a gutter, begging, because life sucks without money. And what you're doing now, all you're doing is you're making life even just the more difficult as it is. The more convictions you get, the more unemployable you get. If you don't believe me, when you go back there in the pods, ask. All the old timers that are in there, ask. You're 20. Don't squander your opportunity. I'll give you a bond reduction. I'll set it to 10,000 now.
okay.
I'd like to have contact with mom. So
Okay.
somehow if you can like arrange so we can figure out how we can get through to Mr. Ellis.
Yes.
So what we can do to, I'm not opposed to a PR bond,
Okay.
but I want to know that somehow we have some kind of structure in place so that we know.
Okay, Judge. I will call her today. How would you like me to get back in contact?
I'm assuming he might go to felony court Monday. We can roll it to Monday
Okay.
and then just stay in the loop with me and then
Will do.
we'll structure things so that we can try to get him on the up and up.
Okay. Thank you, Judge.
I'm not going to let you die here. I'm not going to let you squander this opportunity. I will stay on top of this until we get you going well, because the way that you're going now, it sucks. It's not good. You're not to use any weed. You're not to use any alcohol. And I'm going to stay on top to make sure. I'm giving you a curfew. I'm going to do all these conditions to make sure you're not going to end up another statistic. Do you understand? So we're going to roll your case to Monday because I want to see if we can get your mom involved in this, see where we can go. Okay? All right.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks.
The PR bond.
No, yeah, PR bond on Guerrero and then 10G on Mr. Ellis.
Is the amount staying the same, the PR bond?
Of course.
Okay, I'm
Happy
here on
Friday.
off docket matter, Ms. Keys. 2548155. You sent me an email a couple of days ago.
Oh,
about
right,
her.
right. Okay.
But, the issue is that I'm asking you to open up, I'm here to request that you open up her curfew so she can take her son to school. So that's why she had left 10 minutes early, but she said she's out the house
Okay.
at 5:30 and she's here today.
Okay. Come up, ma'am.
Repeat this, repeat this. Everyone.
Okay, 254-8155.
5481.
So what would you like?
I'm asking, I have the scram on and I have the monitor on, and for the curfew, I'm asking, my son has to be to school at 6 o'clock and my curfew is 7. He plays basketball, he's in sports, so they have
I got it.
practice before school.
You
And he
want
goes to
5:30?
school out of district, so I'm asking if I can have 5:30.
Okay.
I take him to school and I come right back home, and I don't have a problem with my curfew. And then I wanted to also ask, with the scram and with the monitor on, if you can reinstate my driving privileges, because twice my son has been late
Oh,
to school.
Well, I was gonna pull her record, her,
I don't know what your driving record is. I mean,
yeah, I didn't know about her privileges. I know she has an interlock device, but I didn't know that
I
her
don't have an
privileges
interlock
were.
device. I don't have an interlock device.
All right,
Oh, you don't?
No, because I don't have a car. So, but my sister let me use her
Why are
car
you saying
No.
you don't have driving privileges?
because when I came to court, I thought
He told you not to drive. Okay, I
Yeah, he
gotta
told
look
me
at your bond
not, yeah, he told me
conditions.
not to
Okay.
drive into court. And so,
As
I
a note,
came
Your Honor,
to
it's
court.
eligible with the last suspension ending in April 2024.
read me the dims, please.
The DIMS, yes, Your Honor. So on January 18th, 2024, the officer observed a vehicle failing to drive in a single lane at the 8600 block of West Grant Parkway. The defendant was swerving in and out of two lanes and came close to crashing into another vehicle in the next lane. A traffic stop was conducted and the officer made contact with the defendant, the driver of the vehicle. The officer observed disorientation, a moderate odor of an alcoholic beverage, and slurred speech. The defendant could not provide an ID or insurance, and the officer observed an open container of alcohol on the floorboard next to her feet. The defendant stated she had not consumed alcohol, and the officer observed slow movements and unsteadiness on her feet. Center-field sobriety tests were conducted, HGN 6 out of 6, walk and turn 8 out of 8, one leg stand 2 out of 4. The DIC was read and the defendant continued to breath. The results were 0.29 and 0.294.
Does she have any other open DWIs or anything?
This is the one where she has an open DWI out of Austin County.
That's why. You have 2 open DWIs. I don't want you driving. You're not allowed to drive. If I find that you drive, I'm gonna have a contempt hearing. So I hope above all else, you are not driving. You heed this warning, Ms. Keys. You are not allowed to drive. If I find that you're driving someone else's car in violation, you're looking at 6 months in jail every single time you have signed an affidavit promising you that you're not going to drive. I don't care what is going on in your life. You have 2 open DWIs. There's alcohol in the car allegedly. Unacceptable.
And then opening up my privileges, the reason why I asked is because also, unless I sign over custody of my kid, I'm the only one that can sign him to school. So what's been going on is I have to ride with her to drop him off and then she brings me back.
Okay.
I have not
I will-
violated any
If you
conditions
want
of
me
my
to
bond.
open up the curfew, I
Okay.
will, but
Okay.
I don't want you driving. Do you understand? There is a method to our madness here. And 2 open DWIs, a .2 with alcohol in the car tells me that there is an issue. The last thing I want is someone dead. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I will open it up to 5:30. I hope, because imagine what's going to happen to your child if you go to jail and I make your bond $50,000 and you don't have anyone to make it. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right,
Yes, ma'am.
May be excused?
Yes, please.
If she needs to sign them.
She will need to sign yes, the condition. Yes. What's up, player?
How you doing, sir? I apologize for my attire.
Trying to be like you.
Don't do that, Judge. You so far ahead of me. It's hard to even be in your wake.
Come on. Give me a second, Daniel. Hold on.
No problem.
Good morning, Mr. Bass.
Hello.
I'm bringing you out today because apparently we need to figure out what's going on and I have no idea. Tony,
I'm here asking for a PR bond for my client. He's had this case pending since 2023 in December. December 2023. The thing that stands out from what he tells me is he came voluntarily to turn himself in to rectify this situation that's been open for a couple of years now. And so that I do want to state that he came on the bus to try to figure this out. The reason he's doing this is because he is at a point where he's trying to fix his CDL, and this keeps popping up as an open warrant.
can't run forever, dude. Can't run forever. You know, problem is that I'm happy to give people PR bonds. I don't want to keep anyone in jail. But when you show me that I give you a PR bond and you continually take off, how am I supposed to continue doing that? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, as the saying goes. And this is not the first, you know, this case is 2 years old. And you want me to give you yet another PR bond?
If for one, I never had one. I always made a cash bond. If I knew something about a PR bond, I would have requested it first. And I would have did what I had to do. But all times, I always use cash. I never got a PR bond in my life.
Well, I see. So it looks like a 2B was issued in July of 23.
Yes, sir.
You posted an out-of-county bond on December 1st of 23. You were supposed to show up a week later, failed to show up.
Yeah.
And then you posted another surety bond on the 10/17/24. You're supposed to be here a week later. Again, you failed to appear.
Trusting the
Gone.
dispatchers.
No. But that's already 2 times. And now you want me to give you a PR bond
Yeah,
on
I
the
quit the
3rd?
job now. But I don't have nothing in my way. And that was just trusting the dispatch and the job, trying to get home, and they give you unpromised lies, and they could never get me home on time. I always got here the next day after court.
So it's
Or
everybody
that-
else's
that
fault?
evening.
It's
No,
everybody else's fault?
No, sir, it's mine. I hold 100% credibility for it. That's why I turned the truck in and got on the Greyhound. I got the Greyhound yesterday morning and got here about, I say about 5 that evening.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what?
I went to 3 different locations out here because they told me they want the place. So I had to find the building to turn myself in. I walked 3 blocks.
Verify the appearance of something? Just somehow we can verify? I don't know. I mean, I don't even know how I'm supposed to verify that you turned yourself in. I mean, I'm not gonna take your word for it. I don't know you. Never met you before,
Yes, sir.
you know?
Don't have paperwork on me?
I mean, I'll ask him the clerks, but hey, Vic, is there a way to verify that he actually turned himself in as opposed to him getting arrested? You know?
Sheriffs have that information. All we know is if they bond or if they were arrested. If they bond out when they're.
I don't
Went to
even
a
know.
surrender building.
Yeah.
They had surrender on the wall.
Sebastian, tell me about the case.
Yes, Judge.
The PC judge? Sure. On July 8th, 2023 in Harris County, Texas, officer met with the complainant witness who stated that she was at her apartment when she received a call from her boyfriend, who was the defendant. The defendant stated that he needed to grab his stuff from her apartment because he was moving back to California. The defendant showed up to the apartment and they were sitting on the stairs to talk. The defendant told the complainant witness that she needs to come to California with him. The complainant witness said she's not going to. The defendant then slapped the complainant witness's drink out of her hand. The complainant walked away from the defendant and back into the apartment. The defendant followed her. As the complainant was walking inside, defendant punched her in the mouth with a closed fist, causing pain.
Do you have the rip done? Do we know?
We've made contact with her. She doesn't want to cooperate.
Judge, so if I may, Judge, it sounds like they've tried to reach out 3 times to this witness. She's not on board, is what I would say. Therefore, he's got at least a favorable shot at trial if he wants to go that route. I would ask for a meaningful way to get him out of jail while we continue to pursue this case and try to get this
What do you do with
resolved.
yourself these days?
Man, I'm a regional truck driver. I just quit. The company called PB07 Logistics. Because I want this behind me, Judge. I got off the Greyhound and I came here. I parked the truck in the trailer at like a tow yard that is like a second party to them, which I got full permission to do. And I got a Greyhound. Everything is in my phone. All my evidence, the Greyhound ticket, everything of different the jails I Google. I walked this same block here, 3 different locations. If I wanted to run, I could have because I had bubble guts after the first building I walked out of. I had bubble guts. I said, "No, I'm not ready to do this," but I have to. And so I didn't give up until I found the right place, and that was the surrender place, like 2nd floor.
Well, Judge, I would agree with counsel that, I think we're gonna have resolution in this case fairly quickly because we do have all our evidence in. So, in a setting or two, I'm sure we'll know whether this is gonna be set for trial or what we're gonna end up doing with it. However,
Mr. Bass, looks like you did surrender yourself. I'll reward you with a PR bond today. The only thing I'm asking you to do, I'll even give you a lawyer. All I'm asking you to do is stay in contact with him. When you stay in contact with him, when you come back to court, good things happen, When
Yes,
you
sir.
take off, nothing good happens. You know what I mean? All right, I'll give you a PR bond today, but I'm gonna tell you now, I'm not gonna give you another one. You take flight again, and I don't care what, if Jesus comes and says for you to go do something else, I don't care.
Yes, sir.
I won't give you another one.
Yes.
You understand? Just stay in contact with Ricardo, good things will happen for you.
Yes. And I can't speak one more.
Don't, just, it's better you don't.
We'll talk.
The only other thing I'm gonna ask you to do is don't have contact with the complaining witness in this case. Don't have any weapons. That's the only other thing I'm asking you to do. And don't pick up any new cases.
Yes, but once it's all over, I'm gonna marry her. Like she have a kid on the way.
She's on board first.
Yes,
Don't
yes,
force the
mother.
situation.
Yes, mother. Yes, sir.
Sebastian, do you mind finding those conditions? Just for the time being, don't have contact with
Yes,
her.
sir.
When the case is over, just 99% of the people in custody now because of no self-control. They get upset and they wig out and they act without thinking, if I do this, what's gonna happen? If I say this, what's gonna happen?
Yes, sir.
Self-control. You understand, Mr. Bass?
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thanks.
Judge, I wanted to reapproach on.
He can't, don't send him down though. We need him to sign conditions, okay? Yeah, please.
I want to reapproach.
10 and 11?
Page 10, 11, 12, and 13, more like it, right? Mr. Martinez, you were charged with evading arrest, theft, failure to identify oneself, driving while intoxicated, and you also have a felony theft of a firearm. What are we doing?
He is pleading guilty to the DWI and evading, 30, credit for 23, and then they are going to dismiss the felony. That's why Herman's here. He's on the felony.
So, well, they're going to dismiss what, the felony
Once
theft?
he pleads, they're going to dismiss the felony, yes.
So we're going forward on the DWI and the evading.
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
Mr. Martinez, you're charged with driving while intoxicated and evading arrest. On the DWI, you're facing up to 6 months in jail and or a $2,000 fine. On the evading arrest, you're facing up to a year in jail and or a $4,000 fine. You've worked out an agreement. They're offering you 30 days in jail with credit for the 23 days. He actually has 26 days credit.
It's 26 days credit on 1 and 22 on the other.
Okay. You need to understand that these charges will go on your record. The evading arrest is an enhanceable offense. If you ever run from the cops again, you will be charged with a felony offense. Do you understand?
Sir,
The DWI is also going on in your record as well. So if you ever get pulled over by an officer, they're going to look up your record. They're going to see, man, this guy's got a lot of baggage on his record. If they smell alcohol or if they smell dope on you, what do you think they're going to do?
I already know it. They're gonna pick me up.
From now on, you are facing a minimum of 90 days in jail. Any new cases that you pick up. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Even if you've had a sip of alcohol, I wouldn't get into a car because you were taking a humongous risk.
Sir.
Do you understand?
or drugs, or
Anything.
drugs.
When I informed Mr. Martinez,
Okay, any
for
drugs.
purposes, even though he's getting his theft dismissed, it's gonna be based on a conviction on another case, so it's not expunged. The statute does not allow that case to be expunged,
Which one?
the theft of a firearm.
Do you understand that, right?
Yes, sir.
I don't think any of the cases. Or wait a second, hold on a
Well,
second.
the ones that are separate transactions, Your Honor.
All three are out of the same
Okay,
transaction.
well then, yeah.
Yeah, so the evading, theft, failure to ID, all those are based out of the same transaction because none of the cases can be expunged. So the ones that are dismissed, they're going to stay on there, they'll be dismissed, But the others will reflect as a conviction on your record. That's what I'm saying. From now on, it's a minimum of 90 days in jail for anything that you pick up here in misdemeanor court. You understand? You're giving up the right to a trial, right to compel witnesses to testify on behalf, confront and cross-examine your accusers. If you're not a citizen, there are possible immigration consequences. You can be deported, excluded from the country, denied naturalization under federal law. You give up the right to appeal. Once you plead guilty, you can never change this or undo this. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
This is what you want to do. How do you plead to both of the cases, guilty or not guilty?
Good, sir.
I want you to understand one more thing, Mr. Martinez, that DWI is big business in Harris County. There's a $3,000 surcharge that normally would apply to this. I'm not going to stick it on you now because it's a first offense, but on a second DWI, you're looking at a $6,000 surcharge that you get hit on a second DWI. Get a clue, take an Uber. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to suspend your license for 90 days. Do not drive until you get a license. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir.
Just so I know, tell them on that, are you running a concurrent with the ALR suspension?
No, no. He's got 5 open cases. What else you want? A ribbon too? No,
Good to ask.
no.
Okay.
You have a license suspension. You're not allowed to drive.
I was trying to ask you about that.
Yeah, no, that's good.
No, that's good.
Do you have, yeah, just sit down.
All right, thank you.
Do you have ribbons to give out, Jeff? Do you have ribbons?
Get your brother. He's a cousin brother right here. Yeah, wait.
Well, good afternoon, Mayor Pro